starting this journey.
Yes.
To open up, unlock healing for ourselves, what we've already learned and healed, and to continue to unlock healing and growing with the help of helping our community of women to do the same, right?
Yes. Hi, y'all.
Hi. We made it.
Yay! Still having some technical difficulties, but we were just like, we're getting it done.
Yeah.
We promised you this, and we said that without any obstacles, we were going to get this done and get this out. So we are a little late, but we are here. The thing that we wanted is through our journey and through us unlocking stuff in each other, we almost felt selfish. Like I gotta share this. I have to do it.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
Being scared times and just be like, I don't want to do this, or how people are going to look and how people are going to perceive, especially for me, because it's just like, sometimes I can be a hot mess, and it's just like, I don't have that many triggers, but my sister's one of them. So it's just like, okay, somebody mess with you. Oh, what you say? What you?
She ready to throw hands.
Like
she's ready to throw hands.
I don't even know if I can fight anymore, but we gonna find out.
You can, but that's so good because it's something that I've never had. It's something that I've never had. Like I was always a person who you felt like you have to be everything for everybody, and never had that person to cover me and know that they would have my back at all costs. Yeah. So I think that's really been the importance of us getting to know each other. Yeah. Because of the age difference with 15 years, it was kind of like when we were growing up, I was almost a mother figure. Yeah. But getting to be adults and really understanding you as a grown-up. Yeah. It's just been like a whole...
Sometimes it's like, oh Lord, she on the dance floor, get off the floor. So it's beautiful for me because, you want your mom to be your friend, but then it's just like, I'm not one of your girlfriends. I'm not that. So to have that sister that kind of bridges the gap between, because it's the 15 years, it's like bridging the gap between, I get the protection of the mother, but I get my girlfriend because I have my sister. Right. And having both of those is like, I can't be the only one to have this. Like, no, it has to be shared. I don't share my sister, y'all know. But it's like getting to a point where it's just like, no, other women need this. And it's just like, had I had that sooner in life, where would I have been? Because growing up and not fitting into the circles that I wanted to fit in for God-given reasons, and just feeling like I was like missing something.
The missing pieces.
Yes.
Which is what we've been talking about. Like within a family dynamic and structure, we always hold missing pieces for each other. Like your struggles are my struggles, but we didn't know that until we talked about it. So that's the thing, just having the courage to talk about it amongst ourselves where we would have never known. And then even bridging the gap, like you've been such a big help for me. Like you think about it, you have millennial versus Gen X. Like how many things have you shown me and added value to my life? It's like, I don't know how to do that. Can you help me? So that balance is very important and something that for a long time, honestly, we didn't think we would have it, right? It was just something missing that we thought was going to be missing forever, but now we have it. So that is a beautiful thing. So I encourage all of you, like any of you who, you have sisters, your relationship may not be what you want it to be. Because for us, it wasn't. If we're being transparent, it wasn't what it should have been for many years. Do the work, dig deep, be vulnerable. That's the hardest part. Being vulnerable and sharing your struggles, your challenges, and that will unlock the missing pieces to the puzzle, because once you start to share, you'll realize your issues are her issues and vice versa. The family dynamic is what it is. There's nothing new under the sun. So it'll just be more of the same, and and just growing and learning that way. And
find out with us, it's the age gap is one of them, but with us it's the how we were perceived from the outside looking in. It's for me growing up, because with each child, even with my kids, you know, the first one, sorry, is the tester. It's like I don't know what I'm doing. We gonna figure this out. You get to see what mistakes you make with the second one, with the first one, so you don't make them with the second one. Luckily, I had 3, so I got 3 opportunities
to get it right.
Figure this out. But with that, a lot of times I was looked at as she got it. She has everything. She has it all. You know, I was provided of a lot of luxuries and a lot of cushion. To not have to worry, thankfully, to not have to worry about certain things, not have to worry about how much stuff costs, or not have to worry about buying my own clothes or figuring stuff out. My sister, I looked up to her because she moved out when she was young, and this was like, oh look, this is boss lady. She's got it together. If there is an epitome of I am woman, hear me roar, she is that person. Like she had it, but not understanding that she had to. Mm-hmm. She had to figure it out. She had to have that together. And looking at each other, where I felt as though I didn't fit into her world because she already had it together, and she didn't feel like she fit into mine because I'm spoiled and I just got it all together and I don't want to be bothered. She felt as though I didn't want to be bothered with her. Mm-hmm. And just breaking that communication, as uncomfortable as it was, mm-hmm. and getting down to like, oh my God, no, you really aren't a spoiled brat. You really did need somebody to talk to. Yeah. And being able to just be like, not everybody gives you that opportunity. Yeah. People paint you in such a way of what they first see.
You're labeled.
Yes. Yeah. And then that's it. It's like, all right, I already got her figured out. My sister isn't the only person that got me labeled hell to this day as a spoiled brat, or like, oh, who she thinks she is, she got it all together. Mm-hmm. But what I will say, being open, honest, transparent, shout out to Michael Todd. Hot.
Your boy.
Yes. As he says, but I will never, I will no longer sugarcoat anything. Yeah, you can drive a nice car, you can have a nice house, your kids can look cute, and husband is just dressed to the T and smelling good. But if you have anxiety, if you have depression, if you struggle with snacking in the middle of the night, you're dealing with certain stuff, and it's just like, you cover that up because you trying to have you trying to remain cute. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, yes. And then you gotta be getting to the point of the ugliness, the ugly cries. Not ugly like we're not calling nobody ugly, but the ugly cries, the times where it's just like, okay, all gloves is off because mm-hmm. I don't want to fake like I'm healed anymore. I want to actually do the work and get the healing.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. And it's just, I've always said, like, we're learning that 2 is better than 1. Mm-hmm. 2 is better than 1. There's power in numbers, and that affects our prayers. That affects like everything that we do in life. Mm-hmm. So we're learning that and unlocking the pieces and unlocking the layers and taking off the mask, that it requires a sisterhood. Mm-hmm. So that sisterhood starts with me and you, but it also extends to, say, cousins that will have some information or unlock some areas that we didn't know, or areas that we thought were isolated into our home. And it's like, oh, you had the same struggle too? Yeah. You know, so that's how we heal, in numbers. And I'm so excited. I'm so happy for what God has done and what he's going to do. And I believe that in our obedience to him and starting this process, that we're going to be able to help and unlock the healing for a whole lot of women too, in our transparency. So it's go time. It's go time. And even for me, a whole nother layer was like, I have siblings, which I didn't find out about until I was 48, which is 3 years ago. Yeah. On my father's side of the family, my biological father's side of the family. And that unlocked a whole Pandora's box of things that I didn't even know existed. So it's so important. Like, and I encourage you guys as well, that if you have siblings, you know, on the opposite side, you may have a different mother, father, or Tiffany and I share the same mother and have different fathers. When you're ready, because it took me 48 years to reach out, try to find out who they are. Understand the other side of your family. It helps you understand generational things that may need to be addressed, things that you may need to heal from, or just answers to questions that you need. That was the beginning of a huge healing process for me to get to that point. So,
and some beautiful relationships came out of that.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful sisters that I didn't know I had. I have one remaining brother that, you know, still living and not deceased, and just beautiful relationships have come. So I think with that, with you and I, and as well as my sisters that I've recently met, is just the fact that we can share and have that openness to share our innermost secrets has been huge. Where in areas where we didn't even know that there were issues, or we didn't know that we needed healing,
or we thought we were singled out, like she can't possibly be going through the same thing. And I remember coming to my sister, we call her Coco.
April.
I'm gonna say Coco. Y'all can't say Coco, I can say Coco. Yeah, no. But I remember coming to her and I was really struggling with this one area, and the look on her face was like, oh, okay, that was the last piece. Like, now I know you going through it too. And it's just like, the enemy will literally come in and not even across, like, it goes so much further than bloodline and families. As women, as the ones who are up in the middle of the night looking over our house and looking over our boyfriends, husbands, significant others, kids, and making sure that we hold that piece down, that we change whatever needs to be changed in the upbringing for the next generation, or whatever needs to be done. And whatever we are tempted with, whatever struggles we have, there is definitely, if it isn't your sister, luckily for me it is, but if it isn't your sister, then there's another woman that is going through what you are going through, but you sit in silence with it because you're just the shame of being like, I can't be the only one dealing with this. I have, like, nobody else can possibly understand the struggle that I have with this. Well, why do I have these anger issues where if you drive past me and you almost hit my car on the road, I'm gonna get out? Like, and finding out, like, okay, well, what does that stem from? And going deeper and finding out the root source of it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's just, again, the layers. And I remember that conversation very well in my eyes, and it's like, oh snap, she has that struggle too. But I was ashamed to admit that to anybody, because there's so many things that have a stigma attached to them, and especially in the world of Christianity, like, oh, if you struggle with this, like, you're condemned to hell, kind of thing. But just to have that understanding and that relationship has unlocked so much. It really has, and I'm just forever grateful.
Like the number one thing that God talks about across the Bible that everybody knows is the magnitude of love. And I think sometimes we get so focused and zoomed in on other people's sins to the point that we start to weigh other people's sins higher than our own, when a sin is a sin.
Right.
And if we focus more on the love and showing and allowing God to show his love through us, how many times that's all anybody needs, regardless of whatever their sin is. I can't tell you how many times where if I had a hug, no matter, regardless of what I was going through, that did so much. I will never forget the first time I actually really, really got in trouble to the point where I was just like, I can't tell. My mom was on her way to work. Hi, Mom. Mom was on her way to work, and I was just like, the behind whooping that I knew I was going to catch.
It's coming.
If I told her, I was like, oh my God, I got to call my sister. And no matter what, the first thing that you said was not coming from judgment, was not coming from condemning me to hell. It was, I love you, we're going to figure this out, but you're going to have to tell Mom. She dug in my butt, y'all. But the love
comes first.
Yes.
Love comes first.
But the love came first.
Yeah.
And being in a situation where I felt as though I was completely by myself, having that love made it to a point where I was able to survive it. Like, okay, I'm gonna get through this because I know if nothing else, I have that love to cover me.
Yeah.
And if we could show that to everybody else, regardless of what their situation is, regardless of what their circumstance is, and say, okay, I love you. Mm-hmm. You might have to dig in it behind later, but just saying, like, you know what? Okay, I love you. We're gonna figure this out, and having it together. And that's what this is about.
Yeah. That's
what sisterhood is about. That's why we were just like, you know what? The accountability comes when we gonna love you first. Mm-hmm. And
the Bible says that love covers a multitude of sins. Yes. So that's just to kind of wrap up everything that you said. Yes. And it really does. Like, I think for me, just in off topic a little bit, understanding relationship with God, like truly understanding his love for me is what makes me want to do the right thing. It's what makes me want to walk a certain way. And you're right, 100%. That's what sisterhood is truly about. And I think that's the missing piece that women in general just haven't gotten. Is we say we're a part of a sisterhood, but are we really? Right. You know, like usually not. And I have to be honest, even with me, like myself, up until the last few years, was it really a genuine sisterhood? You know, even within friendships, because of the person I was in an unhealed state and not really understanding who I was and what my value and my purpose was. Was I the best friend? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Was I the best sister? Absolutely not. Because I think you have to unlock what's in you before you can be that person to other people. So thankfully, we now have that relationship where we're able to work through that with each other. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just as important with the people that you may have in your close, intimate circle. You know what I mean? Yeah, because it really is. It's just so important to heal. To heal. Yeah. And no matter what that looks like, to heal. Yeah. So, this is just our beginning of our journey. Sisters, the missing piece that we were missing, we're realizing that now. We're realizing that two were better than one. Everything that we didn't know we needed, because if we're honest, we've always, and it's the mask that I talk about, we've always given the facade or the illusion that we had it all together. A lot of it had to do with the way we were brought up. This is the way it is. This is what we do. But it never allowed us to get to a place of vulnerability and genuineness with each other and really understanding who we were.
And nobody has, it's a lack of not even knowing what that looks like.
Right.
Like, I remember we'd be on the phone so many times and be like, okay, I know the problem.
Yeah.
But okay, I know the problem, but how do I fix it?
Right.
Because I struggle with this and with my kids. I'll tell them, okay, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. I give them a long list of stuff. You can't do this. Yeah. But okay, how do I stop myself from being in a situation where I do this? Or how do I, what happens once I do this and the damage is done? How do I get back? How do I get to another healed place? Yo, I ain't even, this is so, I remember there's been several times where it was just like a aha moment where like, oh no, I really got a sister. Yo, I really got a sister. But I never forget, I had COVID. And y'all, I thought I was untouchable. Like, I don't get sick. I got allergies. Just that's around about the end of it. I caught COVID, y'all. When I tell you COVID put me, there's no other way to put it, but it put me on my ass. There's no other explanation.
Sorry, not
but
sorry.
Yeah, but that's the truth. It put me on my ass. Y'all know what that feels like. There's no other analogy for it. But in that moment, for over 30 days, they ain't supposed to last that long. COVID, pneumonia, 2 kidney infections, landed me in the hospital for 5 days. The longest I've ever been in the hospital was 3 days after having each one of my kids. To be there for 5 days, I never forget when I first caught COVID. My sister, she worked full time. She worked past full time. Was at my house, daggone near. I didn't know what day it was. I didn't know whether she spent the night. I didn't know nothing. With love, but we're also digging in my behind. You gotta eat something. You gotta do this. You gonna have to get up out this bed. But besides our mom, I've never seen anybody continually. It's cool you show up one time, but she was at my house all the time with 3 kids, and she would help take care of my kids, helping take care of my family. I would come downstairs, she was cleaning my house. I'm like, I didn't even know she cleaned my house. When was she here? And it was just like getting to a point where it's just like, this is what I want everybody else to have. This is one, because I remember giving my babies a bath and feeling like I had to go through this on my own, not knowing I didn't have to. That was my that's one of my moments where I'm just like, sis, you don't have to go through it by yourself. You don't have to do it by yourself. Even on the days where you like, I can go through this by myself. Why? Why should you have to?
You don't need to.
Yeah, you don't have. There's no reason why you should have to.
And that's what true sisterhood looks like. It looks like being there in those times when it's like, okay, I don't think I can make it. And for some people, like, you may not have a sister, or you may not have a sisterly relationship that's close. And if you can't cultivate that to get to the point where we now are at, pray that God will bring you your person to step in, to fill in that gap, to be what you need in those times when you really need help. Because that's what true sisterhood is about, and that's what we're going to be talking about going forward. And I just want to go back to like what you were talking to, like even about the kids and taking care of them and what we've been to each other in those instances. And what I found is that our sisterhood improves like your psychological aspects, your mental aspects, because we're able to share things and talk about things that we couldn't with anybody else, and just bringing that balance of I'm not crazy,
right?
I'm not crazy.
I might go crazy to y'all, but
right,
don't think I'm crazy.
We here, so that was so important, and that just goes back again to generational patterns and things like that, where only someone in your bloodline is going to be able to understand, whether it be a sister, a cousin, aunt, what have you. So,
my husband don't understand where I got snacks in my nightstand drawer, but she do.
Absolutely. Junk food.
Like, you do that too? That's not, yes.
Right.
Yeah,
but we never knew, because it's just little things like that, like little things that most people take for granted of. This is just what I do. But once we have the opportunity to come together and to understand the why we're doing that, okay, then now how do we fix this? How do we work together jointly to break these patterns that are not serving us any longer, to move forward to what God wants us to be? And without each other, we still be, I can't talk about that. Don't say nothing. You can't tell nobody that. They're not going to understand. They're going to think you're crazy. So, it's been great, definitely. And the goal is to, like, for you have 2 beautiful daughters, so they won't have to experience the things that we did. They know from an early age of, this is your sister, this is your sister, this is your confidant. You protect her at all costs, and that's how it's going to be.
And they do that now. Yeah, sometimes they protect each other from me, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to gang up.
That's what
on
sisters
me.
do, right?
Yeah, my oldest will save the baby in a minute and be like, no, you about to get in trouble, you about to get it. Let me pull you out of this situation. I'm like, that's not how that's supposed to go.
But it worked. That's how siblings typically work. And especially siblings that are closer in age. For us, it didn't work that way because by the time you were here, I was just a few years from being out of the house. So we didn't have that luxury of that time together, like all the time. But that's what siblings do. So kudos to them for looking out for each other, protecting each other as they should be doing. And we're just going to continue. Yes. We're going to continue. So do you think this is a good place to wrap up?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we could keep going for hours and hours, but we just wanted to kind of do like an intro, give y'all a little bit, and we cannot wait to share the next one with you. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you for all the encouragement and rooting us on and not letting us give up on this. Yeah. You know how many times people be like, okay, when is it coming?
Yeah.
And just holding us accountable. And we'll
continue. All the likes, all the follows. Thank you. Follow, like. We have another podcast that will be coming soon within the next week. Yes. So as always, you have a sister now. We are your sisters, and we look forward to talking to you soon. See you later.